so welcome to the Modern Day Mom Meets Modern Day Dad Chat.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have this solemn conversation with you about parenting and being a mom and a dad. Yeah.
And speaking of being a mom and a dad, you're a dad to how many? 3, 4?
No, I'm 4. 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm a busy man.
2 girls and 2 boys. You definitely have been very, very busy.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to know, we're going to go back to when you first had your first child. How old is your first?
My first is 7.
7. So 7 years ago. On a scale of 1 to 10, how prepared were you when you heard you were going to become a dad for the first time?
No, I wasn't prepared at all. I mean, of course, when you marry, you expect to have children. My wife and I had not, well, somehow we hadn't talked about how many kids we wanted to have before we got into marriage. And she got pregnant pretty quickly into our marriage. So when she told me she was pregnant, I was shocked. I was like, wow, it's happening.
Right.
It took me a while to actually finally ground myself in that fact.
Okay.
So there was I hadn't had prior conversations with other couples or other parents. All I knew was that I wanted to be a parent someday. Typically I prepare for stuff. I'm a planner. I tend to plan out how my life will be, what I want to do. But for marriage and parenting, somehow I hadn't planned for that. I hadn't planned what it would look like.
Right.
I hadn't, when we went for counseling, when we were getting married, I just knew I wanted to be a parent. I wanted to have kids. But my wife and I never really talked about, we want 2 kids, we want 3 kids. Apparently, she wanted 4 kids, and she thought that was okay with me because she just wanted.
She landed already.
So, right. So I was I was just on the go. I was just learning as we go along.
Right.
So when she first told me that she was pregnant, I was happy. I was excited, but I was unprepared for what I should do to support her, to be a parent, and all that. So I learned on the job.
Okay.
As well. Yeah.
So what would you say you were most worried about when you first heard you were going to become a dad?
I think the first thing that I became acutely aware of when I was a parent, when I held my son for the first time, was the burden and the enormity of the job that being a parent is. I mean, just to be a little provocative, currently we are talking, on social media about Duncan Williams' son and all the, I don't know what word to use, but all the things that he's doing. I don't even know the guy's name, but I know his father's name. And every time they're referring to the video, they're mentioning his father's name and not the boy's name. So the enormity of being a parent is lifelong.
Right.
It stays, you are these people that you're raising, these tiny babies that you hold in your hands the first time, it becomes your responsibility and your burden and your blessing for the rest of your life.
Right.
Up until you die, you are a parent and you have the responsibility of raising this boy or girl, or whatever they choose to be later in life.
Right.
You have a responsibility towards them for the rest of your life.
Right.
So the enormity of being a father, and I had the privilege of having a very supportive parents, supportive father and mother. So I recognized immediately that, wow, this is huge. I have to, when I had my daughter, I recognized I have to walk her down the aisle and be confident that I've done a good job of handing her over to another man. Right. When my son finally gets married or becomes a businessman or someday becomes a father too, I will have the responsibility of supporting him And that work of becoming a parent and being there all the time, it weighed heavily on me, right? Because I'm still being parented by my parents, even though I'm a father and I'm, living my own life. I'm my own man. So, you're responsible. It's just so much that you're responsible for. So that dawned on me very quickly. First time I held my boy 7 years ago.
Now, if you could choose any traits of yours to pass on to your children, which traits would that be?
I would say friendliness, being open and friendly and outgoing. It helps me to overcome challenges. It helps me to overcome difficult times. I know everybody has their own personalities, but I really hope that I can impact onto my children the love for people and the love for working with others and supporting others and being there for people. I think that is one trait that I definitely want them to have growing up.
Lovely. I like that. What would you tell your younger self about being a father?
Wow, that's a very good question. Don't get too upset. Don't. They're children. They will make mistakes. I beat my kids. I firmly believe in beating my kids. Not all the time, but on certain issues, particularly when it comes to disrespect, particularly when it comes to issues of the being Christian or being godly, I tend to be a little more forceful. If when it comes to the academics and it comes to other playing or messing up the house or whatever, I really don't care. I don't mind. But when they're disrespectful to me or to their mother or to any other adult, I find myself getting a little more angry and agitated, and I beat them. I think that I should be a little more gentle because I should recognize that they are still learning to do that. So I need to, and it's my job to teach them not to just beat them, to teach them to be respectful.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, compared to, how have you changed as a man from when you first became a dad till you're 4?
Yeah. Wow. Vanessa, I'm still on a learning curve. I'm still very much in it. But now I recognize that I need to be a little more, available for my children. I need to help them with their schooling and, participating in other activities outside of just always being at home with their mom or going to school. Particularly around this time of the year when corona virus has come around school, they are almost always at home. Or even the best thing I do for them is to take them to their grandmothers just to hang out. But even that is not enough. I need to be there. I need to, sometimes close off work, go home, play with them, talk to them, just find out how they're doing. And then also, particularly for my daughter, she's very close to me. She tends to want to always be around me. I need to be mindful of what she needs at this age and to be careful to be available for her. I was in touch with shout outs to Dr. Carol Ashon. Actually, her last name now is O'Shea Martins, and she was supporting me to educate her on sexual, sexuality. Yeah, as early as she is now. She's 5 years old now.
Wow.
I'm working on a lot of things now to be able to prepare myself, be able to talk to her about how to own her body, how to say no, how to clean herself, how to keep herself, what to do and what not to do, at least from my perspective. So that's some of the things that I'm working on. And I think that's where I'm going from. I used to not to mind and care about those things a lot. I thought they'll figure themselves out. But it looks like I have to be a little more intentional about doing that. So that's where I am at.
Wow. Now, wow. What would you say has been your best memory so far raising your 4 children?
One of the things that I remember most and always remember most about my children is how they always want to celebrate their birthdays. They always want to make memories, particularly for the 2 eldest ones. They, beyond just every time I buy them a cake and I think that's enough, they're like, no, sit with us. Let's cut the cake together. Let's sing a song. Let's make memory. They want to make memories and remember the new age that they are going into. So I think that stands out for me in raising all my children. All of them are particular about just celebrating their birthdays, and I think I want to be there for that every time moving forward.
Now we have 2 more questions. How are you communicating everything that is happening in the world right now to your children, from racism to COVID-19?
No, I'm not doing a job. I'm not doing a good job at that at all. Partly because I don't know if they will understand what all that means. So my assumption is they don't know. They asked me why they're not going to school, and I just told them, schools are not open because there's a disease going around. We can't go out, but I haven't really sat them down to explain the details and all that. So I haven't done any of that. All this Black Lives Matter stuff, I haven't.
They're quite young anyway. They're very young, so
Yes, I don't know if they will understand what it means. So exactly. And I don't know how to put them into little chunks for them to understand. So
right.
I just keep it moving. Yeah.
Lastly, what advice would you give to any dad or dads, whether he's an expectant dad, he's a brand new dad, or a veteran dad like you who's been a dad for 7 years?
The one piece of advice, you can't mold them to be what you imagined that they should be or what you think they should be. Your duty is to, provide the container and the space for them to flourish and to grow and to be who they want to be. And I'm still, even for new dads and veteran dads like myself, or even for, veteran dads like my father, who has been a father, more than 37 years or whatever. It's a job that is ongoing. You can always, your job as a father is not to restrict, it's not to also unlook. You can't do the extremes. You have to find a balance of supporting and being present and being available and providing a nice container and a boundary for your kids to flourish, whether it's psychologically, medically, or well-being wise, or academically. You have to be there and present and available. Even if you don't know, just don't become the superhero. Right. There's no need for you to pretend, because kids see through. They see through that, and when you're authentic, I think it comes out clearly for them.
Ato, I can't thank you enough for today. I'm very impressed with you because I know you, but I don't know you. So this has added another layer of knowing you, and it's very impressive. You're doing an amazing job. Really quickly, how do you balance? I think you spoke briefly, but how do you balance it all? How does a dad balance it? Because I always say, I feel like for women, we open up a lot about mental health, maternal mental health, all the things, we're trying to even push more women to be vocal. But for the man, how does the man balance it all? How does the man, is he expressive? Do you talk to your friends about things you're going through? How do you stay sane?
Yeah, I keep myself grounded. I have a group of friends who are also fathers. We are in a WhatsApp group together. We chat often.
Oh, you guys have a daddy group, like a daddy group?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So we keep ourselves grounded Of course, we don't go into details about, my kid, pooped on himself or whatever, what should I do? But we keep ourselves grounded by having conversations about, so in this difficult time, just, be calm, stay focused, recognize the job ahead of you. We have conversations around how to be better parents than our fathers were. So, it helps to have a network, a group of friends, a support group that you can always go to talk to. And that's how I keep myself grounded. The other piece that enables me to continue to parent is to talk to my father. Sometimes I talk to my father, how is it that you overcame these challenges? How did you support yourself and me and the family? Even though he wasn't always present, there's something about how strong and how resilient my parents and my father particularly was that I learned a lot from. So I get to talk to my father, and I happen to work with my father. So it helps me, to be to have that, person available as a resource.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So that keeps me very grounded.
And you are very grounded. That is something I've noticed. I always noticed it. You're very, very grounded. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for joining today's chat. We've been trying to have this chat for about a week. And
Yes.
we finally made it happen. And I'm so grateful that you took the time out today to have the modern day mom meet modern day dad conversation.
Thank you so much for all that you're doing for young mothers all over. I don't know if you recognize the impact you're having, but it's a big thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. I hope and I pray that it goes beyond you to become something much bigger than you ever dreamed or expected. Do not stop supporting this cause. I think it's an important piece that will ground us all in the future, particularly as we want to be different from the generation that we came from. So I think you are doing a good job. Particularly, I saw with the Modern Day Mom event you did where young mothers were dancing. Mm-hmm. It touched my heart so much. I think you're doing a good job at that. So continue to do that.
Thank you so much. You made me very emotional because, to be honest, when I do this because it just comes naturally, and I have a love, and I love being a mom, and I feel like no circumstance should block you from being the best mom, the best woman, the best everything. So thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you.
And we will talk very, very soon.
All right.
All right then. Bye.
All the best.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.